Hey man, how's it going?
Howdy doody.
Howdy
Uh,
doody.
Not too bad. Still packing up stuff. Still waiting on my check from the auto insurance company. It's supposed to be today, but
Yeah, but at
nothing
least
so
you
far.
finally got it. You got it finalized though,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
The stump's
done.
still out in the street. When I went and got groceries
Yeah.
today, I saw a bunch of people like taking pictures with it. I'm like,
Mm.
Why are you taking pictures with the stump? You should have been here a week and a half ago when the tree was still there.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast, episode 7 of season 3, The Day the Earth Stood Stupid. And yeah, you and I,
A
Mitchell, we
play on
talked
for
The Day the Earth
what,
Stood Still.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
there's been two variations of, right? There's like the original, and then there's the Keanu Reeves remake.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, it's been last time we talked a little bit about how important this episode was in terms of
Oh
like
yes,
the overall arc of the Futurama storyline. Because believe it or not, unlike The Simpsons, it does have a little bit of a follow through story that has like little bits
yeah.
and pieces throughout the episodes, throughout the series. The
The
more
only
recent
one,
seasons, I would say, don't.
oh no, it's a mockery in terms of
Yeah, it's
overall
kind of
story arc.
yeah. This one, but this is like I don't want to say the beginning, but this is kind of like one of the
No,
episodes that
the
was like the big
beginning,
one.
the
Yeah.
first episode was the beginning because like Fry
Yes,
got
of
stuck in the
course.
future, and this one we find out why he got stuck there. It wasn't
Back to
by
the Future.
accident.
Right. Well,
Although,
kind of. We find out that he's important for the future, but we don't find out
yes,
anything about how he
right,
specifically is.
right,
It's not
yes.
until next season you and I were just talking about, or at least season 4 of like when it first started, the Roswell that ends well. That's when we find out how he
Well,
became special.
yeah, that's why he's special. Yeah, why he's
Yep, and
special. Yeah.
then and then the afterwards the one where he and Nibbler go out there, right? So,
When is that
yeah,
one? That one's not till season 5, I think.
yeah, that's a ways away as well. So,
Wow, I thought it was a lot earlier than that.
what's that episode called again?
The Why of Fry. That's the Why of Fry,
Why of
right?
Fry. There you go.
Yeah.
The Why of Fry is the last one there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's literally halfway through the last season. That's crazy.
not insane, huh? Yeah. So that's when we'll get to Fry and everything for that. But for this episode, yeah, solid episode. We'll jump right in. So
Wow.
opening
It
caption 80.
adds to the lore of Futurama. This literally kind of
Yes.
like, hey, Fry was important and
Yeah.
awesome.
And yet it still kind of ends on like, oh, nothing's really changed about the
Yeah,
show
yeah,
through
that's one
that
of the things. Yeah.
specifically, but yeah, it's there though, right?
Yeah, the,
But
the,
yeah,
the only thing I can think of with The Simpsons that's like this was when Lisa became a vegetarian. That's really about the only story arc that I would say that's stuck.
no, The Simpsons has like characters that come and go and they stay
Yes,
gone or
yes,
something,
yes.
right?
Like
That. But
Edna,
no
the
one
voice
ever
actress passed
ages.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever ages and no one ever does this, but like there are things that do stay the same.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Point.
it's just
Point.
but a point towards like what you said, like this actually has like ramifications for the future, like why we understand Fry as why he's there, right? But in any case, let's get into it. We'll get into why the Earth stood stupid. In any case, we have 80% entertainment by volume. This is, of course, the opening caption. Yeah, the louder, the louder you play the episode, the more entertainment, or 80% of the entertainment it's going to be based on your volume, something of the sort.
Well,
And
I took
yeah,
that. Mind you, it says by volume, but when I was in school for animation, they said like literally over half of films, especially animated films,
mhm.
are like the sound
Oh,
effects,
obviously,
music, all that stuff that
sound is
dictates the
yeah,
quality.
sound is a
And
huge,
it's
huge thing. We talked about this when during the honking with Oliver, right? We talked about this with atmosphere and
right, yes.
horror, right? Yeah, music and
It was good.
sound is very, very important for it. So yeah, that's
Tone.
maybe that's what this caption is referencing in terms of like making sure like when you play volume you have better entertainment, but that could be a lot of things. But yeah, we get into an opening on a distant galaxy, far, far away. Nothing's really happened yet that we can see. And we end up on this little caption underneath that says Tweenus 12. And basically, as soon as we get there, it explodes, followed by a large horde of the brain spawn. They're just these flying brains that are going across. And I believe there's another caption afterwards that says they are 24 hours 20 or 24-hour Earth hours away from planet Earth or something like this.
One
So they're
day's
not they're
brain flight from
there
Earth.
we go. A day away, right? Yeah.
Yeah. 3D
So
models too. They're 3D models of brains.
that's right. That makes it easier, right? So they're flying through space towards Earth. And We then cut right over to the Madison Cube Garden, not the Madison Square Garden.
I
but
do
the
like
Madison,
that feature, but like,
I do like that. I like how it's evolved
how,
over the years. Yeah.
how big is the building? Do you think it's bigger than like this an actual stadium, or do you think it's the size of a stadium?
About the size of the stadium.
Okay, because I was thinking that if it was it would be 3 times, because there's square, which is square, then you just cube it, it's even bigger.
You cube it,
and then
yeah.
like each level would be a different sport kind of thing. Like obviously the top one would be baseball, then it would be like soccer or.
Oh, you've really thought that through.
Oh, like no, this just came to me. And then
okay.
basketball will be somewhere in too, because you don't need to care about a ceiling in basketball. Obviously, it has to be a certain height, but whatever.
Sure. No, Madison Cube Garden. I like the idea that it's no longer a square. It's just that's what the future's done, right? It's evolved it. But we do go into here, and it turns out that the Madison Cube Garden is hosting a pet show. Thank you.
Champion Pet Show.
Yes, and Leela and Nibbler have attended this, and they're joining it here. So, first time Nibbler's doing this, obviously, and we find out that Leela has been trying to train Nibbler to do tricks or whatever, but she's too easy on him, and every time, because he's super cute, so every time he does something or doesn't do what she says, she still gives him food and ham or whatever.
Terrible pet owner.
Incredibly bad. If you're ever trying to train a pet, that is the worst thing you could do. Never give them anything if they haven't done what you've asked them to do, because they will not do it. They'll just think they can get away with it. So yeah, Nibbler, and honestly, when we find out, obviously, that Nibbler is not a dumb pet, but indeed intelligent. It's just kind of funny that he knows how to pretend.
It makes me just think of, like, is he playing the part, or is it just that he's turning off his brain for a while so he could just be an animal instinct thing?
I think it's so the Niblonians clearly just love to eat. Like their stomachs are just black holes essentially. So I'm pretty sure he's just always hungry, and she just gives him food because he's cute. So he just plays along as like the dumb pet. I think that's just what he is. But we also get this little thing from the professor saying like, oh, first prize is like a year's worth of dog food and $500, right? And so
Bender leans in going, $500.
Zoidberg wants the dog food.
And Zoidberg says, a year of pet food, you say.
So Bender enters Zoidberg as his pet. So we have Nibbler and Leela and Zoidberg and Bender. Mind you, they don't really compete with each other. We don't really see that happen. That would have been funny.
It's a sheep herding contest. And have you ever in real life seen a sheep herding contest at all?
I have, actually. I have seen a sheep herding contest. It not a contest, sorry. I have seen a sheep herding situation though. It's
different, but still cool.
It is what it is. I mean, I've seen dogs do these kinds of things before, and just in real life. But
I've seen working dogs,
they're border collies,
companion dogs. Yeah, I haven't really seen sheep herding before, but I've seen like cattle dogs and stuff, like kind of like not quite herd them, but kind of herd them, direct them kind of thing. But I've never seen sheep herding before, because I've seen like dog shows and stuff like that, like some where they go through like the obstacle course.
Yeah, it's something that it takes a long time to train a pet to do that. So it is incredible to see it. But in any case, we have the dog doing this, and then was it Fry? So Fry says,
I love the show.
Great. He's look at all the sheep. 1 sheep, 2 sheep. 3 sheep. So stuff like fall asleep.
It's always a joke whenever you do that, but I think this one is pulled off very organically.
Very well, and especially with Fry, right?
With Fry,
and then Leela says like, well, that the dog is good, but the real challenge is the Hypnotoad, which the Hypnotoad is just one-off. It's not even a character. I don't even know how to describe it. Just one-off beat about the show, but he shows up like once in a while.
Yeah, he's in the crowd in the last movie. He's mentioned a couple times. There's a joke somewhere in the series where like we're sorry to interrupt. Everybody loves Hypnotoad, but we have to go to this
and the Hypnotoad like makes him kill himself.
Yeah, Hypnotoad makes him kill himself. He's like, sorry, Hypnotoad, I don't have control.
So the Hypnotoad's there. So the Hypnotoad just gets the sheep to do it themselves. So, and then the judges are like, it looks like they're talking. Like, I don't know if that's really fair.
Yeah.
Then
the sheep just to go there like, as nonchalantly as possible, and they're like, is he really hurting? And then he looks stares at them,
and the judges all stare at him, and they all give him 10. They're like, oh, okay. So the Hypnotoad can control everyone. But then it's Nibbler's turn, and Nibbler just goes in and eats the sheep. Good Nibbler. That's really good.
Oh yeah, dude, I love Frank Welker. I'm pretty sure this is him. he did the roar for Lion King, one of the roars for Lion King, and you know how he did that? By yelling into a steel trash can or a metal trash can in a certain way, and it sounded like a lion roar. And I'm just like, dude is a lion. It's incredible. Yeah. He was Fred Jones, and now Lion and
Megatron.
Nibbler. Yeah, Megatron.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Nibbler.
No, Frank Welker, and actually I was going to bring this up when we got to talking Nibbler, but yeah, no, absolutely, Frank Welker is one of the top-notch candidates in this show for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Like he's like, actually, I think in the end credits scene, every person who's in this episode, like who voices something in this episode, becomes a main cast member. Aside from Frank Welker, who's just like a special guest star, but everybody else becomes part of the main cast, which is great. So everybody in here is all from the rest of the show. So yeah, we then have
Nibbler eats him, and then after that, Bender and Zoidberg come forward. What did he call him?
Oh, his
whooping terrier.
Hard-shelled whooping terrier, I believe it was.
Terrier, yeah.
And he has like a little cape on him, and he has like Bender always has like a whip or something, and he always beats Zoidberg. So anyway, he gets Zoidberg to do tricks, and he has like jumping around and doing like all these crazy things on like a beam. And you know what? This is I'm gonna throw this into another. We're overthinking it, but it's kind of canon, because remember Zoidberg in the future episode. He says something along the lines of like his parents forced him into being a doctor, or his mom did, but he wanted to be a song and dance man. And I feel like this is something where he would have gone to, because he wanted to be a comedian, he wanted to be an actor or whatever, and he would have learned how to dance, and he would have learned how to do all these things, which is what what Bender is using him for in this talent show.
So when we learned this about him next episode too.
It might be that the Lobster Entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Or Lobstertainment, yeah. So he does a cartwheel on the balance beam. He does like a dance thing. We also get like this whole thing with it's another Mexican thing towards Bender, because he's like, I should be weeping.
What is it?
So no, it's actually really good. But I guess I might be overthinking it for that.
No, I like that little headcanon lore that you have there, because like it's he wanted to be a sing and song dance man. He obviously practiced it on his own time. He never maybe went to a lesson or anything. So this could be all self-taught, which is why he's not good at it.
For sure. why they get second. Yeah. So anyway, Nibbler, he refuses to do any tricks, and like they're getting checked or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, shake a paw, Nibbler," and he doesn't do it. He sees like this balloon that's shaped like a pig, so he jumps on that because he thinks it's ham or whatever, and pops it. Does this whole thing, destroys a bunch of this area, lands on milk and a cat situation. Like it's just a big gimmick of what was going on at the pet show, right? So it's kind of funny. But then there's this award ceremony next here, and the third place. This is kind of funny. We have, because I think we've seen this couple before, like in terms of the characters.
I think they were in the episode
vet,
where the vet with Nibbler got his tooth knocked out.
Right. So third place goes to, I think it's, what's his name? Dave Spiegler. I just wrote it down here, Spiegler or something. And his owner, Fluffers. So Dave Spiegler is like this really weird, it's kind of screwed up if you really think about it.
Picture a human guinea pig, like a human in the shape of a guinea pig with a human head on it.
Right. But it's actually quite terrifying. I don't even know why they would have made this, but yeah, it's kind of strange. So like the camera,
it was a bait and switch.
Yeah, well the camera has it on him, and then he smiles, and then it goes out, and then it shows that he's like a guinea pig looking human, which is just a weird sentence to say. But then his owner is a human cat named Fluffers. And the third prize, I wanted to bring this up, is a party-sized case of guinea pigs. So I guess she's gonna eat the guinea pigs. There's a weird situation going on in the Futurama.
Guinea pigs were a delicacy, and I think not the Philippines, but like that area of the world, it was like a small delicacy at one point.
Sure, but I don't think they're pulling from that.
No. That's a very niche thing.
Yeah. Well, second place, of course, is Bender and Zoidberg, and so Bender's pissed off because they didn't get first place. What does he say? That's just a fancy word for losing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And they got their second place prize was an Afghan made by an Afghan.
I don't think they could use that joke today. It's too offensive.
I wonder. I know, right? It's just kind of it's the material Afghan, and then it's made by somebody from Afghanistan. Is that what I'm thinking here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Was there supposed to be another pet related thing in there? But
yeah.
And the first place obviously went to the Hypnotoad.
But before they announced
glory to the Hypnotoad.
Yeah, all glory to the Hypnotoad. Before they announced that we want to have a special prize for the first time contestants, Leela and Nibbler, and they just literally put a dunce cap on Nibbler with
for dumbest pet in show was what he got, because Nibbler apparently didn't pass anything or didn't do very well in anything because he just ate everything or destroyed everything, right? But after all this, back at the Planet Express headquarters, the professor comes in, and everybody's like saying like, "Oh, sorry, Leela, like sorry Nibbler didn't do well," and she's like, "Oh well, at least he's cute. I'm whatever. Maybe he is a dumb pet." And the professor comes in and says like, "Okay, good news, everyone. We were going to do a delivery to that planet from the beginning of the episode, Tweenus 12, but it blew up." And then like, "Oh, well, that doesn't sound very good. Why is that good news?" He's like, "They paid in advance." And then we get like this little weird doing.
It's just like Bender burped or something like that. And he's like,
exactly.
"Yeah, sorry,
like,
they played it off as that."
Exactly. Yeah. So Hermes brings up this thing. He's like, "Oh, Tweenus 12, that's interesting." So he pulls up this little 3D map, and it turns out that Tweenus 12 is one of a set of planets that have recently been blowing up in like a line. And in the chain, the last planet happens to be Earth, hence why the brains were heading towards Earth at this point.
Such a weird thing too, because like, is this like, obviously there's still like, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and
I think it's on. Basically, probably just like how it is in the rotation of like.
It might just be inhabited planets, right? But even though Mars is inhabited, but who knows? For story purposes, it says the next planet for this
is Earth, right? Yeah, it's just supposed to be in that direction, whatever direction it is in space, right? Because the brains know everything. But during this conversation, we also noticed that Nibbler has been perking up and his eyes are like growing wider and all this stuff. He's kind of understanding what's going on. And just when Hermes finishes saying like the next one is Earth, Nibbler freaks out and he runs away. He leaves, leaving Leela to be like, "Yo, Nibbler, where are you going?" So she chases after him.
Yeah, there's a joke here too, because Hermes says he's getting more twitchy than when you mention food around Zoidberg, and Zoidberg's like, what?
Yeah,
food now? What?
Yeah.
Zoidberg has a couple good cameo jokes in this, that's for sure. I would say
he does. Yes. We have Leela, heading out, and she's carrying like one of these giant hams she was feeding Nibbler earlier in the episode, calling for him, say like, "Oh, who wants a tasty ham?" But as she's going,
dripping ham. What a terrible thing to have in your hands too, by the way. Like walking around for a long
anything
time,
to find
like an hour. Yeah. Raw dripping ham in my hands for an hour.
Right.
Just sorry.
So she sees this dumpster glowing. She's like, "Oh, come on, Nibbler, let's come out here." And then it turns out to be one of the brains. So they've arrived on Earth. And
why would it be in a trash can of all things?
Oh, it's probably just searching things in there, Or maybe it fell in there when it landed on Earth and the lid closed. Maybe it just closed down. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll go with that one. Yeah.
We learn later that the brains tend to have like a bit of a sarcastic attitude towards each other. So maybe it has something to do with that. So any case, as Leela's like, "Oh my God, like flying brains," and she's freaking out. She runs away from them, and she happens to find Nibbler. But Nibbler is in a little garage thing, and he's pulling out a tiny little spaceship. So Nibbler is not a pet. He's actually sentient. And not only is he sentient, he's intelligent sentient. Like he's super intelligent. He can fly a spaceship. So she pleads with him to save her, and Nibbler is flying away, and then he has a change of heart. He comes back and he does save her, and he pulls her in, and they fly off. So I do
like this joke too, because like he's in his little UFO thing that's like, perfectly sized for him. And then when Leela gets inside, like her ponytail still sticks out because it closed on it. My favorite thing about this is when they're flying in space, when we see them next,
still moving.
You see it moving. You're not listening to actual physics kind of thing, right? And it's very funny to me.
It is funny. No, because I actually noticed that too. I'm like, I wonder. Like that was probably just left in there just as like a side joke or something. Because her hair is too long for his tiny ship, so it sticks out into space. It should be frozen, but of course it's like flying like as if it's in the wind or something.
Honestly, I have no idea how it actually worked, to be honest. But I know because
do that
because of animation. When you're doing like say like a flying thing, you have like a cape behind you. It's a cycle of the cape flapping in the wind. That's essentially what they did with the hair. It's flapping in space, which it wouldn't happen that way. It would do something, yes, but I don't know what. It's not like we have an example of this.
Sure. So while they take off and Nibbler's ship kind of like travels interdimensionally, we'll say, because it goes really, really quick. It leaves Earth. And the brains start flying around, and we see them in New York, and they're zapping these buildings and just doing all this stuff. So here we have Fry, and he's walking around Planet Express, and everyone is starting to act really strange, and he can't really figure it out. The Bender is like freaking out because he's like
skin's all
freaks
clammy.
out he doesn't have a heart. He freaks out that his skin is gone or become metal, to which Fry keeps on reminding him that he's not a human, he's a robot. And he keeps forgetting he's a robot. So he's like, okay, that's strange. So then he walks away, and the professor is doing like this what are those called?
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
So he's just kind of in the middle. It's like those little balls that kind of like hit each other. It's supposed to give you like this
there's like right. 5 of them. Yeah, you pull the one on that side, and through the motion of being hit, it hits the other one up. And
I wish I could remember the name of these things, but yes. So the professor's put his face into them. You just hear ow, ow, ow. So
I'm a genius. Ow.
So Fry just walks by him. He's like, "What the hell?" And so then he goes into this is my favorite part of this, because Zoidberg is on his desk and he's trying to snip his own like little jowl tentacle things in the front of his mouth.
Mandibles.
And Fry walks in. He's like, "Zoidberg, why is everyone else acting so strange?" As if this is like normal for Zoidberg. But it's not until that he says, "Zoidberg, want to go outside?"
Zoidberg wants balloon.
Yeah. Zoidberg wants balloons. So it's interesting. Everybody's acting strange, but not Fry. Why is this the case? So we then cut over back to Nibbler and Leela as they're flying their ship, and aforementioned the hair thing outside sticking out, and they're having a telepathic communication. So they're communicating.
Which is never used ever again.
Mm-hmm. No, never again. We never see this again for some reason.
It's like the speed boost in episode 1 with the Jedi.
That's right. So they're having a conversation.
Yes.
Telepathically. And this, I know why they do this, and I get the joke, because it is supposed to be a joke of this. I don't like it as a writer. And you know what I'm talking about. As
the religion joke, right?
What's that?
The religion joke?
No. I mean, that one's funny. But I'm talking, so as Nibbler is like communicating, he's also like he's kind of making noises, but then she keeps on saying like,
she's just repeating what he said.
She repeats what he says, and so this is nothing more than exposition dumping, right?
Yes, which is a very common thing nowadays, which is just stupid and bad writing. But for like something like that's a joke like this, it's kind of funny.
Well, exactly, and this is exactly what it is, because then Leela even says like, "Oh, so you say the stupider." And you go on to say, as if it's supposed to do this, right? So you can clearly see this, and you can hear it. It is supposed to be a joke, but it does bother me as a writer, because it's such a weird way of doing that, and I'm not a fan of it. But yeah. So in any case, they're having this communication, and they're flying over to his planet, and they're having this whole thing. And yes, there's a joke that, how did the universe begin? And he does this little conversation or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, and every religion is wrong."
Yeah, every religion is wrong. Yeah.
So it's funny. I like it.
There's 2 jokes in there, like the exposition jump or dump from Leela.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the religious joke. Yeah.
Exactly. And 3 maybe from the visual gag of the hair moving in the wind.
When there's no wind. I give a pass to that one, because like it's like, what do you like? It just like, because if you put it out there and it's not moving, it's just like it's not moving. Right. It looks weird, right? Like yeah. I can see that from like a visual thing, because I've had stuff like that too with me. Is like, this doesn't make sense that it's not moving. Have it move. Like nothing's reacting to it.
It's
like,
not supposed to be.
No one's touched it or anything. Like why would you need ripples in the water? Well, because it looks weird as just a blue blob. Then it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a lake. It needs something. Yeah. Right.
It needs something to like catch the attention of the viewer. Right. Yeah. No. Fair enough.
So I've run into issues like that with animation and stuff like that. And mind you, this is TV animation. There's not a lot of thought process. There's not a lot of not the word skill, but effort. Maybe high effort is not put into stuff like Disney. They might have put a person up in space back in the 90s and 2000s to like, how does hair move? They might actually have some reference.
Right.
But
sure.
Not
nowadays,
for TV.
not
not for TV. Yeah.
For sure. So we have we cut back to Fry, and he saves Hermes from drowning in the shower. So I do like Hermes like his head is up towards the tap, so he just like closes it, and he like pushes his head forward, and then he goes into the like the little staff room with the TV, lounge. Right, in the couch, the lounge area, and everyone's just staring blankly at nothing. Nothing's going on. So Fry sits down next to them, and then he turns on the TV. So they're not even watching TV. And so they would go to the news, and I think it's Linda and Morbo, right? So Linda and Morbo, their station is in Los Angeles. So we now know that because they're starting to act weird, the brain spawn have basically surrounded the entire planet at this point.
Or at least the states.
So, right. And so Fry watches it, and they make jokes like trains were crashing into each other, but it's okay. They won't be late because we'll send in more trains. And then, of course, those trains crash. So it's a little funny. Morbo has a thing. I forgot the way you pronounce the little letter with the guy the one that looks like a guy with a hat. Yeah,
like a hat. That's a T. It goes ta.
I will destroy you. So I liked it. And so Fry then realizes after everyone is here.
I will say this about Fry because he mentions, man, even the news monster is acting weird. Like, I love how he doesn't call Morbo an alien. He calls him a news monster.
I think because Fry doesn't think much like that. He doesn't think of them as aliens. He thinks of them like it's just evil creature to him, or some kind of creature to him. So he just thinks monster. But then he has all these feelings like, what's going on? And then everybody around him, his coworkers, all start saying like, I'm gonna call these dated references for certain things, right? Because one of them, if I'm not mistaken, talks about was it Bender says no, not Bender, sorry, it's the professor. Professor says let's do the lottery, and then
Amy says she wants to buy internet stock.
Internet stock. So this one is kind of interesting because that actually didn't that come out on top, right? Because internet.
No idea, to be honest. No, I would say it probably did very well because nowadays. There's probably not a person on this earth that doesn't have internet of some sort.
Fair enough. So, yeah, we have the lottery from the professor, internet stock from Amy, and then I think Hermes comes in and he has like a little board. He's like, look, I'm invisible.
Yeah, right in front of his face. He has a towel on from being out of the shower.
And then Fry realizes, oh my God, you guys have all become idiots. And then Bender says, like, let's all join the Reform Party, which is of course like a very, very small independent party in the United States, which wasn't popular at all, and I don't think it is to this day either.
I haven't looked at politics, like what party is what, but like I don't remember ever hearing about the Reform Party.
So Fry realizes everybody's stupid now, hence the name of the episode. So we then cut back to Leela and Nibbler, and they're arriving on the planet.
It's a 3D model. I don't like this. It's a 3D model of them going in it because it's a camera pan from them going past the camera. So you see the front of them, and then they pass the camera turns, and you see the back of it. And you can see that Nibbler and Leela are part of the 3D model, 3D ship.
Oh, sure.
I hate it because it's a very dated thing because they were not, they didn't look fluid back then.
Right. They arrive at the planet Eternium, which is Nibbler's home planet, and it's as the caption says at the bottom, the exact center of the universe, which I like that. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool bit of knowledge or lore of the show. And then they arrive at like where there's their Council of Elders, and apparently it's 10 miles away from the center of the universe or something, some very small thing. But we get to meet the Elders of Eternium, and they're basically they look like Nibbler. They're just as we come to know them being Niblonians, just because it's easier for us to understand them in that form than in their true language, which apparently is very, very detailed and very difficult for people to understand. Yeah. So they're introduced, and I believe the male is David Herman, and
probably
of the main one is David Herman, and I believe it's Tressa MacNeille who is the female one.
They always get her to play someone. I think she's the only voice actress other than Katie
Sackhoff. No, not Katie
Sackhoff.
Katie Sagal.
Katie Sagal.
Sagal. Yeah.
I was going to say Sackhoff. I was like, no.
Lauren Tom as well, though.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, but like I'm trying to think like the random voices. It's been mostly Tress MacNeille and some Lauren Tom. Yeah.
Well, you have the three main female voice artists. Katie Sagal does not voice anybody else except Leela. Lauren Tom at least does voice her mom, like Amy's mom.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple other characters. But then you have, Tressa MacNeille, who does the majority of the other female voices, right? Like Mom and the Grand Inquisitor and the dupe lady and all this stuff.
It's the same person. Really.
Exactly. And then obviously the Neblonian female leader here, but then also like the person who plays Qbert is a female. I'm forgetting her name, but then
yeah, she's different. Yeah.
The Saoirse or whatever it is. I'm always forgetting her name, but yeah, there's her as well, right? So we have Nibbler and the elders, and so the elders introduce themselves as Niblonians and say Lord Nibbler, to which they then find out the names are actually just helping out for Leela and the audience to remember them. It's as simple as that.
Okay, I had to look this up now. The main Niblonian, his name's Ken, and he's actually voiced by Billy West.
What?
Yeah.
No.
That's what this says. The infosphere, the infosphere.
The
and
guy
then the other
who
one is
says
named Fiona and is played by Tris McNeil.
Wait a minute. So they actually says the main person there is. Oh, is that Billy West? Oh, you know what? Because it sounds very similar to the narration guy for like those videos that they watch, like with the guy who shows up and he's always talking. It's like, hey there, like welcome to this kind of thing, right?
The greenhouse gas guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's Billy West. Oh, it's not David Herman. Oh wow, his voice is super different. That's really good.
Yeah,
that's super
good. That's some good voice acting there. Yeah, that's
really good.
That's what this says. I don't know if it's 100% true, and I'm pretty sure if we were to actually look at the transcript, and we'd have to go find this somewhere. But this is just from the infosphere.org.
I totally thought it wasn't Billy West for once, but nope, I'm wrong. It was. So, any case, those two explain everything, and they have this like big meal and everything, and they actually explain the whole thing about they are basically one of the oldest race, if not the oldest race in the universe, and they've been at war basically for all of existence with these other aliens, the brain spawn, which basically all they want to do is because thinking hurts them. So what they do is they make everything stupid around them and then basically destroy it, but gain the knowledge so they know what's going on. It's kind of like a mixture of like, yeah, as Leela calls it, like floating TVs, but also the supervillain Brainiac from Superman. It's basically what they do. So the brain spawn are doing all this kind of stuff. So Fry, as they explain, is the only one, for whatever reason, he's the only one in the universe who is immune to the brain spawn. And they do make a joke about how there's something about the brain that gives off something called a delta brainwave, which is the thing that makes consciousness happen. And life forms have it, robots have it, hence why Bender's affected, and some trees. Just some trees. But yeah, we have this whole thing, and we get the introduction of the delta brainwave. So this becomes important for much later in the show. And then, we have Fry. We return to Fry, and he's trying to like tell New York to stop being stupid, but of course he's stupid himself, so he like yells at himself or whatever with the microphone. But yeah, the Niblonians then decide, okay, we need you, Leela. We need to send you back to Earth. You need to warn Fry. And she's like, yeah, I can do that. He's like, no, you can't, because you're going to be stupid now too. So we're going to give you this note, and we're going to give you this lunch. And I do like this little like big packed lunch and some mittens, right? Because she's not going to know what to do. So they send her down, and Fry is trying to teach the Planet Express crew about world history or about American history. And they have this little thing about the presidents. George Washington's head is there. It's kind of a funny little bit. And Leela crashes into the room, and she tries to tell him, but she's too dumb now. So she gives him the note. Fry doesn't read it. He blows his nose, throws it in the fire. They have this little funny thing about the fire, like,
fire hot. The professor will help. Oh, fire indeed hot.
Oh, Chester Arthur fell down.
Yeah, it's
when he tries to put the water.
Yeah. Like I think the last few episodes we've said that they're very like the season has been very joke like a lot of like little jokes here and there. This one has some like little jokes and stuff in it like that, like the Zoe big one out, Zoe big one balloon kind of thing. But this is a very good story one too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good in the episode too, right? It makes sense for why these jokes are happening. Aside from the pet show, I mean that's kind of just to show off that Nibbler is dumb, but then it turns out he's actually not dumb, right? But the whole Zoidberg and Bender putting on a talent show kind of thing for them, pretending to be pet and owner, that's kind of a throwaway gag, right? Because that never gets brought up again. But I love it. It's still funny. So yeah, we have Leela trying to do this, and he's like doesn't believe her, and then she turns him around. And there's some brains out in the window, so he's like freaking out. He's like, "What do I do?" And she's like, "You have to fight Big Brain." And he's like, "Well, Big Brain, where is it?" And Fry's.
Oh.
Right. Fry's not smart, but he's kind of in that headspace of his time, right? I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago in the Amazon Women in the Mood, when Fry and the other guys are like making fun of like female comedians and female athletes and all this kind of stuff. He's one of the guys, right? Fry is still very much in this mindset of like the jocks are like the cool kids, right? From like the 80s and 90s. That's a
very 80s, 90s, and right? A little bit of the 2000s.
Yeah. Whereas like the nerds, of course, are like, oh, the nerdy, they don't know anything, or they know everything, but they don't know how to get a girl kind of thing. Where do they spend their time? And it turns out he's right, because he says the giant brain is just a giant nerd, so he must be at the library. So they end up going to the library, and sure enough, giant brain is here. I believe this is Maurice LaMarche, right? Oh, Dewey, your decimal system. Pretty sure it's Maurice LaMarche. Yeah,
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes in there, and so
yes, Maurice LaMarche.
Yeah. So the giant brain is reading all these books, and Fry challenges him, and he says like, "Yeah, you're gonna get out of here or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, there's nothing you can do to me." And then he starts like trying to hit Fry with his little brain beam, whatever you want to call it, and Fry's immune. So he's like, "Oh, that's odd. That's strange." And so Fry starts thinking, and it's like, oh my god, thinking hurts him. Yeah, but what does he say? Like, oh,
thinking hurts him. Maybe I can think of a way to use that.
Do that.
But here's a fun little just tidbit, because like, yes, the brain is voiced by Maurice LaMarche, and during the 90s, there was this wonderful TV show called The Animaniacs, where Pinky and the Brain, where he voiced the Brain. And I think you and I were there for when he talked about this too, in person at the Calgary Expo, Comic-Con, or whatever you want to call it. And he thought that the character was made as the Pinky and the Brain character. The Brain was like, oh, that's Orson. Oh crap, what's his name? Orson Welles. That's Orson Welles. And they're like, no. Orson Welles. And he's but like, we love that. Go with it. Yeah.
Yes. And now now the Brain always sounds like, hello there, and he always sounds like the Orson Welles kind of thing of that thing, right? It's funny.
Yes, so he voices the Big Brain, now playing a giant brain. Yeah. It's Fry versus the Big Brain.
Yes, and so Fry's trying to like hurt him, so he's throwing books, but it doesn't do anything. So he uses his mind by thinking, because apparently he doesn't have a delta brainwave, because that would make him dumb. But he has a bunch of other brainwaves that have somehow cobbled together to make some other stronger brainwave that he can now have thought or conscious thought or something. It's pretty cool, actually. I like that. Pretty good lore building. The brain is angry at Fry, or getting hurt by Fry from thinking. So he says he decides to like, I'm going to trap you all into the world, the mental world of all these books, and you'll never be able to escape. And so they jump in, and the brain sends them first into Moby Dick. And they're with Ishmael and Quay and in the ship, and he's waiting for them to find the white whale.
I do love that John DiMaggio voices the captain here, and the first one who sees really the white whale gets a gold doubloon.
Right.
And
there she is, and he's like, I saw him first.
Yeah, I saw him first. And then Quay's like, no, that's not big white whale, that's big gray thinky whale.
Right. And so the brain is going to leave them in the symbolic tomb of this story, right? And then Fry's like, no, we have to go after him, or else we'll be trapped. So they follow the brain into the water, and then they end up in the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And I do love this. This is one of my favorite lines of the episode. But it's like, hey, Tom Sawyer, like, have you seen this giant brain? He's like, of course I did. I let him help me paint this fence. And then he's like, Tom Sawyer, you tricked me.
This is less fun than previously indicated.
Like, I don't know why. It's like somehow Tom Sawyer tricked a giant.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite. Like, it's a very well thought out joke, but like, you have to know Tom Sawyer. And like, to be honest, it's been I was probably like less than 10 years old when I learned of Tom Sawyer. Sure. So like, I just know that he tricked people into doing his stuff because he was a bad kid. Don't be a bad kid.
He was just super clever. So he found a way to like do less work for himself by tricking other people into doing it. So yeah, that's the whole thing. It's just funny that he tricked the brain. So anyway,
that's the funniest thing to me, because like this all powerful giant brain gets tricked by a little
10-year-old kid. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the brain's like,
love that he's wearing a straw hat too. Like he's wearing a straw hat like Tom Sawyer. Like he's just totally is like, yeah, I'm gonna do this now, and you know what? I'll be like you too. I'll also wear a straw hat. And he's there painting the fence. So
the brain says like, I'm gonna abandon you guys into this hellhole of Americana that you call a hell or whatever it is, and he says, no, please, no.
Yeah, I do. I also love the fact that Tom Sawyer's like, no, please.
Like he's that intelligent that he's figured out what's going on, kind of. So anyway, one more book they escape into is Pride and Prejudice and
zombies. Wait, hold on, no, the
no
better,
zombies in this one. No,
the better but not as boring one.
So it's just Fry. And Fry is talking to them, and then they reveal that the brain is Mr. Brainly or whatever it is, and he comes in, I'm a gigantic brain.
I think that might be my favorite line when it comes in. No, it'd probably be my second favorite line, but yeah, I'm a gigantic brain.
So he's doing all this. So I think Sawyer had also thrown I can't remember now, but somebody threw white paint at him. So then Ishmael and Quay Quay figure out like, oh my God, the whale is white now, so now we can start attacking it. So they start throwing harpoons at the brain. Anyway, this whole nonsense is happening in Pride and Prejudice. So Fry's like, wait a minute, I have an idea. And so he tells Leela to stay with Quay Quay, and she kind of has like a crush on him or something. So he somehow gets out of the thing.
Mrs. Quay Quay?
Right. So he gets out of the thing. I think this is because of his lack of delta brainwave. I think this is the only reason Fry can kind of escape this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, he jumps out the window and runs off into the distance, like,
and he pulls away from the book, and that's in real life, and that's how he kind of escapes the hypnotism, or the whatever you want to call it, the hallucination, if you will. So we see Fry out there. He gets a book, and he's on a lamp. He's on top of a bookshelf. He's holding on to a chandelier. He breaks the lights, and he's going to try and electrocute the brain. He swings by it, hits another bookshelf. The bookshelf falls on top of him and crushes him and breaks his neck. And we're left to believe that Fry has just died, failing to stop the brain. And the brain starts laughing, and Leela's like upset, like, oh my God, Fry, no, or whatever. But it turns out this is also yet another hallucination, as Fry had just created a book that was, in his own words, full of plot holes and spelling errors, but it literally just called Fry Beats the Big Brain or something.
Yeah.
And so we leave with the brain saying like, yay, I am the greatest, I've won. And then he like, I'm going to leave Earth for no reason. And he flies into the air. And I guess because his power is no longer connected to the other brains, as he flies off into space, all the rest of the brains kind of die. They fall down, and the Niblonians come down because they sent Leela. And yeah, they scarf them down. They just, let's do it, must be done. And then they just eat. They eat the brains. And due to the fact that brains are now gone and the big brain is left, everybody, because they became so dumb, they forgot what had happened, except for Fry. But nobody ever believed Fry. And thus he was the only one that ever remembered. And yeah, nobody cared. So Fry kind of just abandoned it. And Nibbler went back to being a secret dumb pet and stays with Leela just in case the brains ever returned.
Yeah, he didn't have any interaction with Fry here. So how the hell did he get back, actually? Because it was just Leela that got back. He didn't show Nibbler with her.
What, back on Earth?
Yeah. When she came back.
The Niblonians came. Remember they ate the brain?
Right. And they dropped
Nibbler just came back
Never mind.
So Nibbler probably ate some of the brains too.
Yeah.
Like he's part of it, right? He's part of their crew. There is also that fun joke. He says like, Niblonians to nibble stations, like arm your niblets with something.
Right, yeah.
And then he's like looks at the female commander. He's like, sometimes I fear we are too cute. Because there's like this little joke that's a running joke every time when they're telling Leela the story about like where they came from and like how dangerous the brains are. Every time they're seen on screen, she goes like, "Aww," and they keep on like glaring at her because they hate being called cute. So, in any case, that finishes off the day the Earth stood stupid. And I think great episode. I wouldn't say it's as funny as Amazon Women in the Mood or the other ones, but
like we said, this is a very funny season with like a few great stories in there.
Yeah. Like I'll even say Bendless Love, I think, has me laughing more than this episode does.
Oh, yeah,
but
I think
the story is much better for sure. But yeah, what's your thought then on like your favorite scene, joke?
I think it's the big brain am winning again. I am the greatest, and now I am leaving Earth for no reason. I use the I am leaving for no reason a lot. So whenever I do something, it's like I'm leaving for no reason.
Leaving for no reason.
I do like that one, and yeah, the professor will help. Oh, fire indeed! I think those two are probably my favorite jokes. But I also do love the Tom Sawyer, you tricked me.
This is not as fun as previously indicated.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that one I think probably gets the biggest consistent laugh, I'd say. But I do love the I'm leaving Earth for no reason. But just Maurice LaMarche did a great job on the I'm a gigantic brain.
Yeah. No, his voice of that brain is really, really good. Yeah. I also enjoy I think I like the Tom Sawyer one. I thoroughly enjoy Bender and Zoidberg at the pet show, like dancing around and all this kind of stuff. And I should be weeping. I'm not weeping. And he like hits him with the cattle prod or whatever. I don't know if you caught this when Fry and Leela are running into the library and they're running down the hall to find the big brain. There's like a list of or like different doors
or something like that, isn't there? Yeah.
And did you catch one of the doors is Stephen King, and it's like A through Aardvark.
And is it just because he just writes a lot of books or something?
Yes.
I don't know much or
that's
really
exactly
care for
what it is.
King stuff.
He writes so much so quickly that he's now has his own alphabet basically is set up, or his own book collection is set up in his own little room, and it's A through Aardvark.
He's written so much A books that there's A to Aardvark.
Yeah, so there's like so many other books as the implication, right? So I did like that joke. I mean, who couldn't not like the Hypnotoad?
No, Hypnotoad's got to be the MVP. Yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah, he's MVP. He's MVP.
Yeah. Who's MVP, Mitchell?
The Hypnotoad.
I'm actually writing that. Good. But yeah. So anything else to add about this episode? I know we kind of already touched about like how important it is in terms of the lore, but
the delta brainwave is probably the most important factor for the whole thing of Futurama in this episode. The brains too. The brains only show I think like maybe another 2 or 3 episodes. But the delta brainwave thing that's very important. Yeah, I would say it's a very important whatever the word I'm trying to say. Aspect. Thank you. Aspect is a very important aspect for Fry and the show. I think because it's one of the reasons why he got trapped in the past to come to the future, and it's actually saved him. It's actually important in 2 different ways, one with the brains and one that was unforeseen with one of the movies. So, but it's just I guess it just has something to do with mind reading. So,
yeah, well, it's the ability to block conscious thought. So somehow he's lacking the delta brainwave that allows his conscious thought to be read by people who can read the delta brainwave, which the brains can. So that's why he makes him immune to it, right? But anybody who can read minds can, I guess, use the delta brainwave to do so. I think that's what they're playing with in this show. But yeah, I love it. It's really, really good for that. So yeah, man. Thanks for joining me again today. And so we'll see everybody here next time for episode 8 of season 3. That's Lobstertainment. A Zoidberg one. We haven't had one of these in a while, so this would be really good. We get to know a little bit more about his past. And see everybody then. Have yourself a good one, Mitchell. Talk soon.
Yeah, toodaloo.
Toodaloo.